3 words. Who is your hair loss daddy? And who's in the house? And who's raising the roof? And who is the, what did I used to say like a month ago? Who's the Top Gun Maverick of hair loss? There it is. I almost forgot about that one. The answer is Nick Shell is. We're going to check out this comment. It was from a video called Predicting If You Would Go Bald Has Nothing to Do with How Much Hair You Had When You Were Born. Our friend Aiden Sylvia, sounds kind of Portuguese, we're distant cousins, had this to say, quote, I would like to back up your beard theory. My dad can grow a full connected beard like yours, and he is a Norwood 6. My uncles on my mother's side can't grow fully connected beards, and one is Norwood 2.5 and the other 1.5, so it holds up for my family. So I'm going to see how my beard will end up, which might be a good indicator of my own hair loss, whether it takes after my father's or my mother's side. End quote. And I had even said in the comments, hey, I may make a video in response to you. Let's keep in mind with this beard theory, which and I have to point this out. Most of you, almost all of you are cool. Not all of you, but most of you are. See, the thing is, a lot of people in their youth are eager, they have what's called high conflict personality. So they're eager to prove people wrong, or at least make it seem like that person's wrong, because ultimately they haven't figured out their identity yet. So they are very argumentative. They're always wanting to argue and debate with people, try to prove the person wrong, because subconsciously what they're needing is to gain respect from people. But Nick Shell, your manly mentor, is here to remind you, it's impossible to gain someone's respect by proving them wrong. It's not how it actually works. If you prove someone wrong, you may have even helped them understand that you were right, but then they don't respect you. So it's funny because anytime I share my hair loss videos, it used to be this way more so than now. And now, collectively, my audience is a lot cooler than it was, I guess, a couple of years ago. Because it used to be, I know this guy, and then they'll tell the exception to the rule, which I never care about the exception to the rule. You can name a guy with an Irish last name, and he's from Ireland, but he went bald by the time of age 20, and that goes against my theory that men of Irish descent typically go gray quite early in life, in their 20s even, but then they don't go bald. It's one of my theories. I believe it's true most of the time. I don't care about the exceptions to the rule. And so, as we're talking about this beard thing, I think what we have to remind ourselves is most of you are emotionally intelligent enough to know that trying to prove me wrong by the exception to the rule only proves that you haven't figured out your own identity yet, because ultimately you're looking to try to gain respect by arguing against someone, proving them wrong. It's impossible. I know too much about emotional intelligence for that to work for you. It's not going to work for you. So what we're going to all remind ourselves here, we're looking for the general rule. So with that being said, let's look back at this comment. And by the way, I very much appreciate Aiden Silva. I appreciate you obviously being like most people who are cool on my channel here, realizing that this is simply a generalization. But I think it's foolish to look and see a predictable pattern and then ignore it because there's exceptions to the rule. Well, that's pretty silly. When we want to base our ideas off of what typically works the majority of the time, even if it's the slight majority of the time. So I appreciate you, buying into my concept here. And even if I'm wrong, at least it kind of gives us something to sort out. But let's take a look at this again. The question I would have, though, we'd have to know the age of the person with the beard. Because here's the thing. Jason Momoa, what, Aquaman, right? I mean, I think he's a couple years younger than me. I mean, I'm sure he's in his 30s. He has a perfect head of hair and a perfect thick beard. And he's the exception to the rule. Well, what we don't know about him, we don't know how thick his hair, how thick his beard was when he was 16 years old. Because that's what matters. It matters about your facial hair before the age of 18. So here's what can happen. You can be a guy who can't grow any facial hair until the whole time you're in high school. And then suddenly you're 21 and you wake up and wow, I suddenly have a full connected beard now. That's cool. That would be the same guy who would be less likely to go bald, because it's a very black and white thing. You either can grow a full connected beard before your 18th birthday, which largely kind of predicts adulthood and kind of the end of puberty and all that stuff, you either can or you can't. And so many of my viewers will tell me about their beards, and they'll say, well, it's pretty thick, but it doesn't connect here, and it doesn't connect. If you have to say but as you talk about your beard, then that doesn't count. I'm saying fully connected. And I'll give you an example, and I mentioned before, Ryan George, the guy that does the Screen Rant videos that I love, the pitch meetings. He's a guy who's not going to go bald young. Granted, I think he's only 30 now. He's not going to go bald. And if he does, he may much later in life, like Johnny Cash just kind of suddenly went bald at the end of his life. Other than that, was barely a Norwood too. Ryan George is not going to go bald because it doesn't connect well. It's not a good beard. He can kind of get some volume here. It's kind of thick here, but it's not a good, strong beard. So, by default, it's kind of a weak beard. It's on the weaker side of things, but he's going to keep his hair. That's how that theory works out. So, thanks for asking about that. Thanks for backing me up on that. And remember, my channel is about generalizations. It's about me being wrong a quarter of the time about these theories. But those of you who are intelligent enough, like our friend right here, Aiden Sylvia, who left this comment, we can think, what can I learn from most people though? What are most of the patterns that show up? Because there's a good chance, if I was to put money on it, whatever happens most of the time is probably going to apply to me. The exception to the rule won't. But again, the guy who's understanding that it's a generalization is emotionally intelligent, more so than the guy who's trying to debate people all the time. And I want you to think about that for the rest of your life. When you run into people, when you see those people who just want to debate and argue and prove people wrong, think about what Nick Shell, your manly mentor, said. That other guy that's trying to argue with people all the time, he hasn't established his own identity yet. And what he argues in favor of often is him still seeking confirmation of what he believes. He's still kind of testing out what he thinks he believes to make sure that he believes it. And that's why he wants someone to come back at him and debate him to see if he's strong enough to still support his claim. That's what he's doing. So that's why a confident man is not going to debate. He'll share his ideas. And, I don't have to believe everything I hear. I can sort it out. But if I hear somebody say something that I don't agree with, guess what I do? Oh, yeah. Because I don't care. I don't care about proving them wrong, even if they're trying to prove me wrong. So I think that's part of the magic of my channel, is that it's celebrating these generalizations, and it kind of weeds out the people who are emotionally intelligent enough to understand it's about the generalization and not about the one. Because in the end, all that matters is that you are emotionally intelligent, and more so than other men. Because in the process of natural selection, there are going to be those with more hair, but they are not necessarily the ones that are the most attractive to women. Maybe attractive to men, or what you would be attracted to if you were gay. But what women are actually attracted to, hair does not make the top 10. In fact, most of the things females find attractive, they put in their top 10 list of things about guys that find attractive, most of those things are not even physical traits. Try to comprehend that. Because if you think, well, what do you, like right now, I'm asking you as an audience, when you think about an attractive female, if you made a list of the top 10 things, I'm pretty sure that most of you, I already know what you would say for like 3 or 4 other things, but pretty sure that most of your list would mainly be physical traits. And when women do the same thing, hardly any physical traits show up about men. Paradigm shift. It's a very important part of my philosophy and my teachings. And who else is saying this? That's the thing. No one talks like this. No one says these things. I know that emotional intelligence matters more than your looks. I'm the king of that. I'm the king of getting things in life, not because I'm the best looking guy, but because I know how to communicate with people, and I know how to help people understand things better and find a different route, a different theory to get to where they're going, instead of using the map that everybody else is using. I've basically got a better map than a lot of people when it comes to these things. So I am sort of sorting people out who, and by the way, since I started making videos again, I've officially been living by a principle that I refuse to make any videos based on any negative comments. Even I may cherry pick a positive part and make a video about that, but I won't, nor will I type a message back if it's meant to try to prove me wrong or debate or imply that I'm ignorant or wrong or more. I'll find to ignore those people. That's why people like Aiden Sylvia, I'm like, yeah, I like this guy because ultimately he is emotionally intelligent. That matters more than hair loss. That's what this channel is actually about. Making you attractive from the way that you're actually seen as attractive, not how people perceive you as attractive. Paradigm shift. Comments right here.